but I get what you mean. I get what you mean. All right. So this is actually where we end up. Round up the interview. We've been talking for an hour now. So do you
Really?
have? Yeah, we have. So do you have any final words, messages to people out there? Some tips maybe for upcoming players? Anything?
Well, we sure. Actually, so pretty good platform to do it on.
Yeah.
So I don't I want to be I want to clarify this. I don't think anyone's a fan of me, but if people follow and they want to be in IGL or they want to be a good team player, I think in the middle of our interview we kind of spoke about you know, how to be a good teammate and not, and you know how you want to learn. Especially like you said that I was pretty hungry to learn and
Exactly.
adapt.
Yeah.
I think that's the number one thing. Like you can work on your aim 10 hours a day and you can watch simple play and kill 30 people every single time and so on, but to be realistic about it, you will probably not have that talent because there's only one simple, there's only one Cyber, there's only one Nico, and all those three are very individually talented on their own. But there's a reason why there's only 3 of them that you can name that are like, wow, mega talents, you know. So instead of watching those players, try to get our own fundamental understanding of how CS works and then build your own playstyle. And also be very hungry to learn, like you would say I am.
Yeah.
Like understand that CS is a game that you can play in 100 different ways. Because there's, I think you can almost put it in 3 different zones. So you have the, you know, the bad zone, which is down here. Like, you know, the red zone where you should never do this ever in your entire CS career. You can do a mistake, but you should never do it, you know?
Yeah.
It's very few. There's maybe 5 or 10 things in CS that you can say is really bad, you know? But then there's the gray zone, and the gray zone is like this big, you know? There's like hundreds of thousands of different gray zones where it's good, it's bad, because it depends again on teammates, map, who you're playing against, what the enemies have been doing, what your teammates are doing. You know, like I can go on for an
context,
hour. Just,
basically.
Yeah, context basically.
Yeah.
And the context is super important. So there, CS is very context based. So you can never say what's right or wrong in the gray zone, in my opinion. Like it's very hard, at least. You can always say, "Oh, your teammate did that, so you could have done that," but that doesn't mean what you did was necessarily wrong. It's just you maybe just failed, you know.
Yeah.
But your intention was good. But then the top part is the good part, where it's like the 5 to 10 different things. You know, like that's really good. There's always the best thing to do in a scenario. For example, like always trade fragging your teammate if you have the scenario to do so. You should never just let someone be able to kill your teammate and go back. You know, that's just one of those examples. But you should understand that CS can be played in 10 million different ways in terms of context. And just because you have a different philosophy than someone else in FaceitPog and he tells you, "Oh, shut the fuck up, you don't know what you're doing, you're so wrong," but you're like, well, from the information you had and the context you had, it was the right decision, but it didn't pay off well. But maybe in another, you know, dimension, it did work. You know?
Yeah.
So that's what. So just be really hungry to learn, be really like open for interpretation, and also learn different philosophies of CS. Learn the 3 books that we talked about. You know, be super aggressive, be in the middle, and then super like defensive. Like if you can learn to be those 3 as a player, and then being able to be a good team player, you will basically be a complete player in some senses, you know?
But don't underestimate the time it takes.
yeah. That's obviously I've spent these 5 years. I spent 10k hours. I paid for 10k in 5 years. That's a lot of fucking time.
That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of fucking time. And if you would compare it to other people that played, the CS is still built on players from 1.6 Source. They've been playing the game for 10 years, maybe casually, or 5 years casually, and then they've had a pro career for 10 to 15 years. And when you put yourself in playing against those those people, you will obviously have way less experience, and they will have that playbook that we talked about, those 3 different pages, perfectly complete, to some sense, compared to you.
Yeah.
And you just begin to scratch one part of it. So, yeah, it takes time, and it takes a lot of patience, and also dedication to becoming better.
Yeah, the hunger and the passion for the game itself, actually.
Yeah.